Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I am Kirk Henderson, joined as always by Josh Bowe. I am still setting up our live stream while the show is getting kicked off like a true professional. So, Josh, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Nice little Sunday matinee we got to watch. That was certainly a game.
I don't know how to prepare for these games. Quite honestly, it's a very weird thing in that 10 straight losses was not what I expected. But when you lose every game for a month, at a certain point you kind of do expect to lose. So it's like you turn into a game like this, and Bobby Corral pointed this out in the pregame, like earlier this afternoon. There were 22 total players on the injury report, which is very funny. Now for the Mavericks, that included 3 two-way guys, and the Pacers, I think, even had a couple of two-way guys. So it's like 15 guys plus the two-way guys. So it's a ton of potential people. Like, so 22 sounds awful, but realistically, you're like pulling from a path of 36. Hold on, my dogs are going nuts. Okay, never mind. My wife was talking. It was my wife coming home. She went to get us some dinner, which I'll eat after the fact. And it was just one of these games. I don't have particularly high expectations for any of these games, particularly when flag sits. Like, I don't have a lot I'm watching for. We got a guy, Andrew Wine, in the comments. He showed up almost immediately after the game. Just he might not even be here anymore, but it's basically saying, like, why is AJ Johnson getting no minutes? Like, what is happening here?
Because he stinks.
I think that may be the answer. But if he stinks and we're tanking, can we not get any burn? Like, it's not an unfair question. But anyways, you tune into this game with kind of low expectations. And it becomes one of these things where you're watching and you're just kind of hoping to be entertained. And what I saw in this game, and I watched this game more closely than I would have expected for a 4 p.m. start time with my kids around, because it's a little bit difficult. The Mavericks are significantly better than this iteration of the Pacers. Like, the Mavericks that they rolled out tonight are significantly better than the iteration of the Pacers that they rolled out tonight.
Yeah, even without Cooper Flag and everything. Yeah.
So the fact that the Mavericks won 134 to 130 is actually kind of a surprise, in that I thought they were just going to run away with this game about 25 times. It was very, very ridiculous how bad the Pacers were. They have 2 big white stiffs. Jay Huff, who leans into his last name being Huff and likes to do Hufflepuff puns. And this guy I've never really, like, straight out, I've never heard of him before. Last name of Potter. Were so atrocious at the sport of basketball today that I couldn't believe the Mavericks weren't up by double digits the whole time. The Pacers play a really, like, the game can get out of hand basketball, in the sense that they shoot so many threes that if they're really hitting them, then they're just going to run you off the floor. But in this case, they hit just enough threes to be able to hang tight with the Mavs. But it was not a close game. Like, it was just not a close game. The Mavericks were really, it's like, they decided to play for 3 to 4 minute stretches, and then they would be up by 9, and then they would fall asleep for 3 possessions, and the Pacers would hit a pair of threes, and it would be a 4-point game, something like that. It wasn't like frustrating to watch, because again, I kind of expected the Mavs to come out and win this one, but it was an odd way to spend an afternoon after watching the Mavericks lose so many games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to watch, when it's not Cooper Flag, and the most prominent performance was from a guy, Khris Middleton, who will probably not be on the team in 6 months. Who knows? It's hard, in these games, what you're looking for, because the season's over in the sense of competitively. So you're just looking for, okay, what are we looking for next season? Are there diamonds in the rough? Are there young players that can develop? And the Mavericks don't really have those, which is why this was, we talked so much last summer about why, they're in the mess that they're in outside of Cooper Flag. So it was tough, you've got these veterans, Klay Thompson and Khris Middleton playing a bunch of minutes, and Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, Najee Marshall. And, realistically, those guys might not be on the team the next time Cooper Flag leads the Mavericks to the playoffs, whenever that is in the next, is it 2, 3, 4 years, whenever that is. So that part is, I can understand from a fan perspective that can be frustrating. And it does make it hard for us to talk about, because it's like, we just cover this game straight up. Like, here's what
feels. It's like it
lost a bunch. That so that it like it makes it kind of feel like Fugazi.
That's what I was saying. That's the exact word I was thinking. Because it's like, are we just lying? Like, are we just gonna? Are we gonna cover it like professional wrestling is real?
Yeah, yeah. We got to keep up kayfabe.
And it's like, I don't want to be like disrespectful, but it's like the fact that the Mavericks are where they are in the tanking race is kind of due to some masterful positioning. And then the players that they're not forced to play. I mean, these are the guys they have to play who they have. And who they have is actually a pretty good team that has had a year of bad luck. Like, if Anthony Davis had played the whole year and they hadn't have traded him, the Mavericks would be about a 500 basketball team. If he had played 80% of the games instead of 25% or whatever it was. They're not a terrible team. And so it's like they roll out these guys night in and night out, and you're just going to have games like this. I mean, I found a tweet from probably about 5 or 6 games ago where I said Khris Middleton's going to win the Mavericks basketball game. Like,
there you go.
He won the Mavericks basketball game. I mean, he was 25 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and was really like
that stat line doesn't emphasize how crazy
good.
Of a game. Yeah.
Like, he was good. Like, capital good.
The fourth quarter, it was like a throwback to watching like Dirk fourth quarter. Like, it was seriously like, we're not running offense, we're clearing out the side, we're ISOing, posting up Khris Middleton, and we're gonna let him go. Like, that was their offense for maybe like 6 straight possessions in the fourth, and I think he scored on like 4 or 5 of them. Like, he was incredible. He was very good.
The best part about it was Middleton's a guy who we thirsted after, knowing he was never going to be a Maverick.
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, maybe not 10, probably closer to the early in the before they right in Luka's early years. I remember him being a guy that like Dalton would sort of wish cast about, because he's an ideal second star when he was in time. I mean, his playoff games. I'm friends with a very insanely wonderful Bucks fan named Ben Thompson, and he showed this like list of Khris Middleton playoff games, like just the stat lines. He was enormous in every game that was of consequence to the Bucks. The challenge became, it's like it's kind of like the Jason Terry of it all, where it gets a little lost to history because you're playing with a dominant player in the main position. But Middleton was sick. And I mean, I think he hurt his knee in the follow-up year after they won the title, and that effectively like ruined their chances. So
dude, he averaged like 24, 8, and 5 in their finals run. Like, that's pretty damn good for your number 2.
Like, and when you look at this team, it's kind of wild in that the Mavericks didn't want to I thought they were gonna buy him out, and he would go, and he just go to the Mavericks, they just have a lot of good guys, like a lot of reasonably talented guys. And the other guy who really came around tonight, and he needed a game like this, was PJ Washington. Washington was part of a couple of different packages that they showed during the game, where it's like, oh, here's him doing this and him getting the line. He hit 1 corner 3. But this was a more of a return to form to the PJ Washington that we got used to in the second half of last season, just capable of doing stuff. So it was nice. I don't know how to feel about PJ long term. I like him, and I hope that what the Mavericks will if they keep him, great. If he wants to be moved on to a different situation, I think they should do that for him. He's just another guy who, there's been a lot of Mavericks veterans over the course of my life who I don't want good things for because I don't like watching them. And PJ Washington's just the direct opposite. I feel for the guy. I like him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It was a great game. The Pacers Pacers have like no front line, even with Pascal Siakam. So he just, he bullied them. And even Siakam, as good as he's been this season, that dude is not playing any defense this year. And I don't blame him. Like the season's over for them. I mean, and PJ beat him for a back cut in the fourth quarter that he got fouled on. That was really good play. PJ played really well. And yeah, he needed it. I feel like it's been a long time since he had like he's had some stat lines, but like in terms of like actually directly impacting the game in a positive way, this felt like the first game in a long time he'd done that. The Mavericks, the Pacers made 9 more threes than the Mavs, but the Mavs scored 64 points in the paint, which is hilarious. Like, Kirk, did you know that the Mavericks are the 4th best team in the NBA in points in the paint per game as a team?
A 4th?
They're 4th best.
Look, I know we're working you down from the writing sphere, but at a certain point, you might owe it to yourself to be like, here's some batshit stats about the Dallas Mavericks, because I did not know that, and we talk about this team.
But it's also a weird stat because you would assume the best teams are the ones that are scoring in the paint, but New Orleans leads the league in points in the paint per game. But then also Brooklyn's last, so 2 of the worst teams are first and worst in the stats. So maybe it doesn't matter. None of these matter. The numbers are fake. Everything
is fake.
Yeah,
everything is fake.
But it is funny. That is they get to the rim pretty well, and they had 64 points in the paint and still shot 32 free throws. The
first quarter was awful. It was like I remember, because I turned the game on and sometimes I'm not there right at tip time. Turned the game on, and then I went and did something in my garage, and I was gone for like 10 minutes, and I came back in and only 3 minutes of game time had passed, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna be one of those games.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it's the nature of what's going on with these Mavs here. Seeing Carlisle and Kidd talk to each other after the game cracked me up, because the Pacers pulled it within 130 to 134, right?
Yep.
And they get a rebound off of 2 Najee Marshall missed free throws, and there is 15 seconds left. When that 15, whoever took that rebound, walked up the court,
Jarris Walker
walked up the court and took a 1-footed double pump 3
with
15 seconds left. Like, if they had hit a shot,
there
was time. And they were just like, and we're done here. Just a truly masterful.
Najee missing the 2 free throws in the first place to even leave that that window open.
That's, and it was the 36th clutch Mav game of the year. They lead the league in clutch games by 3. Like, they are that far ahead of everyone else in clutch games. I mean, this is just,
I know.
This is like, we're going to talk about this team, I think, if we're still talking about the Mavericks. The way we joke about that terrible, the year Dirk got hurt in the start of the year, and it was like Chris came in and
OJ Mayo.
OJ Mayo 30 game stretch where he shot 45% from 3 before Carlisle broke his will to live.
Yeah.
Just a weird deal.
It's a weird team.
Well, let's take a quick break, and then we can talk about anything else that's on our minds, and then we'll wrap this up. I mean, I got a thought that I want to come back to, because I saw something first thing when I woke up this morning. It's been on my mind all day. All right, so if you want to support the show 3 ways, listening to the ads, you guys have been doing that in volume, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I know we have to insert more ads than we did in our previous network, but honestly, it's what keeps Josh and I doing this. It's very difficult to do this sometimes because there's just not much to talk about. And this is like the 3rd time in 4 years where this team has been a little iffy at this point in the year. The other way to support the show, literally links in the show notes, and then you can tell your friends, join, grow the show. I know you got a lot of options now. DLLS has kind of taken our lunch money in terms of live show with interactivity, but that's just they're backed by money. We are not. But anyway, we'll listen to those ads. We'll be right back. Okay, thanks so much for hanging out here. I do want to do Mavs parties and group therapies, but nobody watched this game. Like even within our staff, nobody watched this game. That's usually not the case. Like we got 25 people, and there's usually at least 15 of them that are like talking in our live chat, and there was 3 of us today. Everybody's just kind of out on it. It's fine. Got plenty of games coming up. And likely at least 2 more wins in their next 3 games, as far as I can see things. Yeah. I did want to slightly biased had a tweet this morning that just sort of stuck with me. Now, this is a slightly biased is a content machine. The man can make chicken salad out of chicken shit better than pretty much anyone else within the Dallas Mavericks market. He's funny and does different stuff and can really lean in on the darkness of this team in a way that is funny, whereas I'm just mad. He said something. He's like, this is the 3rd time in 4 years where at this point in the season I'm not that interested in watching basketball, and that is kind of, I think, where we are collectively, like everybody, and that just it sucks. Like it stuck with me all day because like I do like watching basketball. I like to, my kid's kind of right at the age where the right series of games like could lock him in on it. Like he watched that United States hockey game this morning and was like, "What is this?" like this is pinnacle of sports stuff, buddy. Don't know what to tell you. And then you go to the Mavericks game in the afternoon, and what we watched today, while not an abomination, was not exactly the highest of the highs in sports. So I don't know. I'm just sort of lamenting the fact that we have 27, 26 games left. And I don't entirely at the moment know how we're going to do this, just being perfectly candid.
I mean, it all comes down to how many games Cooper Flag is going to play. If he can play, then I think we'll be okay. But if he can't play and he has a foot sprain, and who knows, feet are very delicate. You don't want to mess around with that stuff. Yep. And then who knows, the Mavs are tanking. Like we're not trying, I yelled about the Utah Jazz a month ago, and everyone got mad because they're like, well, what are the Mavs doing? It's like, well, yeah, the Mavs are tanking too. So I'm not trying to no one in the NBA holds the moral high ground in regards to their integrity of they're all trying to lose these games. So they might do that. Like if they sat him, and that would be a disaster. That would be a travesty if they sat him when he could play, because they want to lose more games. Like that would really suck, and it's literally the only reason to keep watching. There's like Marvin Bagley's pretty fun. He had another double. I like him. I think we talked about it at the trade. He has the chance to be the one thing that maybe actually sticks from the Anthony Davis trade. I know that there's going to be.
He's a lot bigger than I realized.
Yeah, and he's fast. He gets off the floor fast.
Left-handed too. We like lefties.
Yeah, we do. And he seems to have embraced being a role player, which is very unlike a lot of guys that come into the league, as a number 2 pick and are expected to be franchise guys. So he settled into that, and he could be something that they could move with him going forward. And everyone else, there's a lot of older vets. We already know Max Christie is probably going to be a staple for the next couple of years. Mavs fans are going to be mad about AJ Johnson not playing. Some are going to be mad because they just want to see him play because he's the lottery scratch off ticket. And then some are going to be mad because they want him to play so that the Mavs can tank more, which I get it. But also, he got some chances and he was bad. Like, I don't know what you want to do there. He hasn't played, he's what was that Fran Fraschilla quote? He's like 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Our
he
Australian
is
listener,
so raw.
Our Australian listener, Mr. Green, chimed in here to be like, he popped in one night specifically to be like, AJ Green is awful and he's not going to play.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the Bucks picked him. Like, he was projected to be like a mid-second round pick in the draft. He was picked, and the Bucks picked him first because the Bucks are kind of out of their minds. Like, they have had some weird AKA bad drafts over the last couple of years with the Giannis stuff. So he should have never been a first round pick. Like, he needs so much more seasoning. So who knows? And then of course you're like, well, this is the time. And if they play him 30 minutes in a game, that's fine if they want to do that. But also if they don't play him, I don't care either, because there has to be like a standard. Like, you can't just get minutes, even if you're bad, because I think there's something to what Kid has at least instilled. Like, if there's one thing you can say about Kid is that, like, they play the team plays hard, and I feel like if you start rewarding guys with minutes when they don't deserve it, maybe you start chipping away at some of that foundation you've built. And like seriously, that's like the one thing like you could stand on and be proud of with this team. So yeah, there's that part of it. So it's hard. Yeah, like you said, it's gonna be a rough couple months. It's gonna be a rough week because they're playing the Nets, they're playing the grid, like they're playing some bad teams this week. So you don't even get the opportunity to be like, oh, well, let me see like this playoff team. I get to see this playoff team up close and see what they're about. Like I can see a contender. So it's going to get weird and ugly this week for sure.
And the funny part is, and this is maybe not exactly funny, and I'm sure some of our listeners are going to be like, well, what you could do is you could go watch some college basketball and form some opinions there. And I'm just going to put it to you like this. I would love to do that. There are not enough hours in the day physically. Like Tyler Edsel are kind of the guy who watches the most college. Him and Brian, they watch the college games because they don't watch the Mavericks right now. Like you just can't do both. Like well, I suppose you could, but then you're not really doing anything else. And given our other obligations, it's just not happening. Like I always Isaac over at Locked On Mavs seems to make this kind of a priority for him around this point in the year, where he watches several games and he's like very, very vehemently in on AJ Devanza, which I would love to have that strong of an opinion. Like I used to have those kind of opinions, like I did on Luka Doncic in 2017. I was like, this is a guy. Like I was just, here's why. I can't do it, which is not that I don't want to. It's just there's just not the means yet. And we're gonna get there. Like there's tape, there's stuff I can watch. I already have like, it's so fun though, because I was, shout out Chuck Cooperstein, who we tend to bicker at each other over Twitter, but I exchanged some messages with him the other day about just how fun it is that there's like 12 guys who could be something. And like that's going to sustain, I think, once we get conference tournament, NCAA, where like it's kind of more of a cultural thing that I'm watching as opposed to like, seeking out a college game on a Tuesday night. So I do think that will help. But it's really weird. When we started doing this several years ago, there were just more reasons to log in and check out the Mavs. When the team is on the upswing, that's when it's easiest to be most engaged on a game-to-game basis. But this is just like, this is a slow path to death with how boring these.
Yeah. And what sucks is it's been like that. You talked about how that slightly biased thing, 3 of the last 4 years have been awful at this time of year. And it feels different because we were obviously around when the team was bad right before Luka, but that was like, okay, well, there's like Dennis Smith Jr. and there's some stuff we can watch. And yeah, it's bad and it doesn't matter, but it felt like, okay, well, they're rebuilding and we kind of knew what we signed up for. Like we didn't sign up. I mean, if you would have asked us in 2022, hey, 3 of the next 4 years, you're going to be a lottery team, we would have been like, did someone die? Like, did Luka get shipped? Did Luka get deported? Like what are you talking about? They're not going to be bad in 3 of the next 4 years. They've got a 24-year-old all like we didn't like the way we've been blindsided each year. 2023 was just a catastrophe of not expecting Brunson to leave and that team being ill prepared.
But even then, there were things to talk about during the catastrophe.
But it was mainly because we were talking about the catastrophe, right? Sure. Mostly, yeah.
But Kyrie came on board.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this one's nothing. This
was just
it's Cooper.
Like
it's Cooper. Yeah.
Last year was depressing. Like I get all these Facebook notifications and memories where it's just like, at this point last year we were 3 weeks post Luka trade, and the shock did not wear off. Because do you remember? Because we were bleakly laughing about how our February numbers were just outstanding. And then no one listened to our show for the rest of the year. Like,
because everyone wanted to get the trade rage out of their system. And then when they did, they're like, all right, I'm done. Like, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just an interesting situation to be in. Obviously we'll tend to make, we'll find things to talk about. I'm good at that. You and I are good at talking to each other. So
let's send a fruit basket to Cooper Flag's foot.
Well, I mean, honestly, what I really want to do, I don't know if this is even feasible, and I may ask some of the other Mavs media people about this. I want to earnestly ask this new communications, whoever becomes the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, they need to do what the Lakers do in terms of when it's near draft time, you flood the zone with who is coming in for workouts. The Lakers publish every single stinking prospect, and they start doing it the day the season ends. So the Lakers have this news cycle that they essentially control, where they're pumping out information into the media ecosphere, and it's so much that you don't know what to do with it. And like, I would love that, because I hated how under Donnie Nelson, we never really knew who they were talking to. There would be like one report every now and again. It was so boring. And it's just like, there are ways to make the basketball news cycle, I don't want to say like first takey, but it's just like, there's stuff that you could be talking about all the time. And we just don't get that. So it's one of the things I'm hoping to like at least make the case for, because it's like, if you want the Mavericks to be part of the conversation, you have to give ammunition. Like there has to be something to talk about. And the Mavericks operated under this veil of secrecy that was well beyond gone just because Donnie Nelson was he operated in a different media ecosphere. So I'm ranting at this point. I have one final question for you, and then we get out of Dodge. Did you take your child to see GOAT?
I did, and I wanted to. You had a take in our Slack, and I'm very confused because I feel like we watched different movies.
He loved it.
My daughter loved it.
I was just like, I didn't think it was bad as much as I was just like, this is a cocaine-fueled adventure of insanity. Like it was so weird to me. Like after watching both Zootopia movies, which are legitimately good children's movies, watching GOAT, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on in this thing?
I don't know. I'm so confused because it just seemed like a normal kids movie to me. Maybe like I'm weird. I don't know. It seemed pretty normal.
The rapping giraffe really just put me down. I'm just like, what is happening? Like there were like just so much like weird, odd stereotyping. Like there was some odd oddities to it. But my kid loved it, and that's the only part that really matters, because it's like you go to these things to eat up 90 minutes of your day. But
it was fun, and it looked good. I like keep those Spider-Verse artists busy. Like they keep them drawing shit, because every time they make a movie from that production company or whatever, they all look awesome.
Yes,
so that's cool.
And I know that when Josh and I talk about these things, people are like, "What do you mean it looks good?" It's like, trust me, if you got to be in there, there's got to be a little something for you. I saw some movie during COVID called like Snow Dogs, and it was like the worst children's movie I've ever seen, and I still think about it. It's just so bad. So, all right, let's go be done and go watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and we'll be back whenever the Mavs play, which I think is Tuesday, maybe. I don't know. They don't have a back-to-back right off the bat here. I just was in the Mavs schedule. What's wrong with me?
They play the Nets.
Oh yeah. So they go Thursday,
on
Friday,
Tuesday.
Their first back-to-back. That's fine.
Yep.
And then I don't know if you've looked ahead to early March. Like they play.
It's hilarious.
They play 5 games in a row that start at 6 or earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
Oh, you're talking about that. I was more looking at like when they finish playing Brooklyn, Sacramento, Memphis, their next like 6 games.
They're gonna get annihilated. It's right after. Yes.
OKC, Charlotte, Orlando, Boston, Toronto. Play Cleveland twice. A little bit after that. I look at start times a lot. Now you look
at this point last year, you and I were so thrilled because there were no 9 o'clock games. And so we got like 4 left, which is definitely annoying, but that's countered by the fact that there's a ton of like 6 o'clock games, which means we can get done with this stuff.
Yeah, I like that. All right.
Everybody be good. Enjoy the start to your week. Thanks so much for hanging out. Go Mavs.